This is the Sports Buzz XL podcast, where we share the stories of current and former athletes and beyond, telling their stories of where their journey began and the obstacles and adversities they had to overcome and what it took for them to achieve their dream. You are now mic'd up with Tim Stein, and this is the Sports Buzz XL podcast. All right, so we got Danerien McCants, former NFL player. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me ask you this first. Former Redskins. So you consider yourself Redskin or Commander?
In 2001, when I crossed the ticker, it said the Washington Redskins. If you find a jersey that says McCants with Commanders on it, I'll be surprised.
Right on, right on. Yeah, you know how they do. I don't understand how they're talking history with Redskins or the Commanders own several Super Bowls, but they don't.
No, the reality of it should be, even though it's the same business, it should be some kind of established win. You see what I'm saying? That even the version when they didn't have anything, it should be an established win because it was no longer the Washington Redskins. So it should have say, okay, the franchise in some kind of asterisk, because it just throws the history off. Because like I said, Art Monk didn't play for the Commanders.
That's right.
Just Super Bowls weren't run by the Commanders, and then nobody even likes the name. So
Yeah, I agree. So tell us what it was like growing up in your household, and when did you realize football was your thing?
growing up in my household. So my background is I'm originally from Baltimore City. Oh, see, I told you I got my nephews with me. Hold on for a second. What you need? Yeah, call your mom. Call anytime you want. Bug her. But they've been with me too long. They're not used to being with me. But for the most part, like I said, originally from Baltimore City, grew up Green Mountain, Preston, East Side, Andover Gardens. So the beginning of my life was, 12 people in the house. Grandma took care of everything. 4 aunts, 4 uncles. I think on both sides, mother and father's side. Parents had me young, so 18. At the time, it was in the 70s, late 70s. People got babies and married at an early age. Bounced to the county. So my mom got married to a young man who had a little bit more money at the time, and we moved to the county. So from that, I think that probably changed the trajectory of my life, because now there's opportunity that I don't believe I'll have if I stay in the city. And that's always a question I kind of have with myself. It's like, do I still make it if I live in a city? Because, the environment pretty much plays a major factor in a lot of people's lives. It's very rare that somebody gets out the city a certain way. And especially, like I said, with a curious mind such as myself. And even when I moved from the city to the county, it still was what I call a sick mindset. You get caught up in the environment, and the environment says, hey, you can do this long as you understand the results. Because at no point in time did my grandmother tell me that it was okay to steal, that it was okay to take people's property, destroy people's property, and then come back to her house. But for some reason, I had that mindset. I was actually practicing being a criminal, stealing cars, stealing bikes, stealing anything that I, breaking into homes. I wasn't headed in the right direction, even though my environment had changed and I had a better situation and more opportunity. But I'm a basketball player, man. I love basketball. So in Baltimore, you play alley ball, which isn't basketball. It's a rougher version of, it's like a combination of football and basketball together. So
yeah.
Crate, you play on the crate. It's either, it ain't no fouls. So you either dunk, you shooting, or it was like football going to the rim.
I mean, that's how I see it too. If I don't hit the ground when I get fouled, it's not a foul.
That's how we played. So that's what I was used to. So then when I moved to the county, they played a game called 21.
Yep.
I was 21. So, we played 21, 3-on-3, 5-on-5. I wasn't used to that because, we had an alley. You didn't have space to go up and down the court.
Yeah.
Everything was every man for himself.
Yep.
So play with 50 put out. So, it was a lot easier to count by fives.
Yep.
That's just how I see it. And then, for the most part, like I said, I'm a hooper, man. I love basketball. My guy was Dominique Wilkins. And as I was learning life lessons through the county, I would say probably I didn't play organized ball till I got to high school. So, football, basketball, track, football, basketball, track, football, basketball, track was pretty much my MO. But for the most part, I was kind of brainwashed by my first coach at Wild Lake. He basically told us that the football players were the best athletes in the building. And the best athletes had to represent the school. That's Wild Lake, right? And Wild Lake at the time was championship after championship after championship. And all those guys took care of us like we were little brothers. Like when I talk to those guys now, it's like we never skipped a beat, even though I may have not seen or heard from them in 15 to 20 years. And it's like, dude, how do we have this? It's a kindred soul to it because how we grew up in that community. And it was a mindset. If you go to Wild Lake, you play football and you go on ball and we don't lose. And we're competitive. And that became the mindset. That was the culture on which I grew up. Then I moved to the rival school, which was Oakland Mills. And I actually made varsity my sophomore year, but I was like, nah, my boys ain't make it because my boys were still on JV because, like I said, Wild Lake was a more competitive school at the time. So I stayed down. But I tried to play varsity basketball. I got cut. They got in a whole bunch of trouble. Then they brought me up, and I probably should have stayed down. Junior year, I go to Arundel, just play basketball. And then finally, my senior year, they found out that I had all my core classes completed. So I had actually nothing else to do my senior year, but electives, because I didn't take electives. And ended up playing all three sports, going all state in all three sports. And then, I walked on to Delaware State because I didn't understand SAT. So my parents didn't graduate college. So, they didn't go to college. So it was a lot of, like I said, life lessons in the process. And then when we finally got everything down, I walked on to Delaware State. And then from that point, it's kind of history.
So what does that do? Let's say you have a child who's a sophomore playing basketball or whatever sport, and they want to bump him up to varsity, and there's different skill level there, because obviously they want to take that JV player and bump him up to varsity because they see something. But if things don't go his way, does that like put a damper on his confidence?
That's going to depend on the person.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Leo. So for the most part, confidence has never been an issue. It was taught in us that we always played up. So once again, like I said, so at Wild Lake, everybody tries out for varsity because the head coach has to see who's the top talent and who's coming up, right? So if you don't make varsity, and at the time, I don't think they have freshmen in Howard County, but if you don't make varsity, then you make JV. Now, if you don't make JV, then obviously you try out the next year. So that was the process. So far as confidence, nah. Like I said, the guys who were around us, the other players, the older players, instill confidence in us. Like, no, this is what you do. This is how we do at Wild Lake. So I would always encourage anybody to play up because I would prefer a younger kid playing up at a higher level because you get more information. If you're looking at like a LeBron, a Kevin Garnett, a lot of those high school players, physically they weren't ready. Mentally they weren't ready. But if you take an athlete of that caliber and put them around professional athletes, you're going to get a much better athlete because they're getting information that they're not going to get on the lower levels. I try to explain to people all the time when I'm training, I'm a professional athlete. I don't train amateurs like professionals. They don't have the capacity mentally or physically. So why would I train you the same way? But like I said, when you get a Kobe, when you get a Kevin Garnett, and you have a certain caliber athlete, it's just going to come down to a matter of time. So now putting that context in high school, I've had my son play up his whole career until he realized that, oh, I've been playing up. and he's trying to figure out why all his friends in high school and playing on different teams. And I'm like, you've been playing 2 years younger, 2 years under everybody on the team. And now he's starting to see the difference. So now he goes to see these coaches. These coaches like, oh, wow, he's, and I'm like, yeah, he's only 14. Now he's in high school. Now it's going to be a whole nother set of life lessons that he has to learn. But I would encourage anybody always play up. It's going to benefit you because, like I said, you're dealing with older people, more mature most of the time. That's going to teach that younger kid lessons sooner than playing on level or below level. Because I know the new thing is like reclassing with these kids 15 and 16 playing as freshmen. It's getting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got these kids who play down. There goes my dogs. They play down to a level. That's the level you're going to play at. If you play against people better than you pretty much don't have a choice but to level your game up.
Right. On
You
shot.
know?
So I can tell you my first year in the pros, Champ Bailey, Daryl Green, Fred Smoot, every day. It only made me better. And the thing about it, they could tell that I wasn't a football player. I was just an athlete. And they were the ones who were coaching me to be a better wide receiver. With the body type, with the skill set I had. Hey, man, just do this. Hey, man, just do this. Stop. You're doing too much. Just do this. Like, you big, you strong, you fast, just go. Like, it was simple things that even in college, nobody told me. Nobody said, because for the most part, I was a physical specimen. Like I said, 6'2", 6'3", 205 in college, ran a 4.3. So it wasn't too many of me on the field at my level in which I was. So when I got the ball, who's going to stop me? At the pro level, Champ could outthink me. Champ would outsmart me. And that's how he won. Physically, like I said, by the time I got to the pros, I was 210, 215. Champ might have been 180. Physically, it wasn't a match. I'm a weight room guy. Like, I eat weights.
Yeah.
Champ football and field speed. So you're talking about two different dynamics. If I got my hands on him, and I say if I, physically, he's not going to be able to beat me. Or if I got my body on him, then eventually he realized, okay, I got to get around this joker. And he wouldn't let me. And so once I couldn't touch him, he had space, and it was a different ballgame, because I've never seen anything or anybody who moved like Champ did.
Yeah. So when you get into college from high school or a pro from college, is it a matter of one of those things? Like you said, you weren't a football player, you were an athlete. Is that a matter of like overthinking what you had to do and they just had to bring you back down? Hey man, don't complicate things.
For me, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know football.
Yeah.
I didn't, even in college, for my situation, I believe I was meant to be a teacher because I went to 3 different high schools. So every time I played football, it was a different offense. It was a different cadence. It was a different thought process. It was a different philosophy. Then I go to college. I got 3 different college coaches. At no point in time was I able to be comfortable in my own skin or even really learn what football was, because it was about running, catch the ball, score, running, catch the ball, score. So I made it simple on myself. Catch the ball, score. No matter what route I ran, if it was wrong and I scored, I kind of got a pass. So I didn't know football, because now at the pro level, you got cloud coverages, you got blitz packages, you got DNs who are covering the flats. Javon Kearse is out in the flats. Why? Why are you out here? You're 270 pounds. No, you're not supposed to be this close to me. So when you that's a whole different dynamic than in college. In college, when I put my head down, pick my head up, cover 3. Put my head down, pick up, cover 4. Cover 2, I got it. In the pros, you blink, everybody done shifted and moved. And especially like Ed Reed, he was a nuisance. It was like, how you go from the middle field? Why you start, and you have to be able to pick that up as a pro, and you got to pick it up fast.
Yeah. That's one thing, even with Sean Taylor, dude was everywhere. Everywhere.
Now, them boys from Miami, they had a different education, man, when it came to football. I don't know why or what the information they got or why they the way they are. Their football mind and IQ is on a different level. Like I have story after story between Santana, Clinton, and Sean. It's just like even when I went to Baltimore with Ed and Ray Lou. So it's
Yeah.
just like I'm watching these guys, and the thought process and how they move is completely different than any other group of college kids I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, that's like when you had Ray Lewis on the Ravens and, we had LeVar Arrington. And I'm like, LeVar Arrington's that dude. I just, I wanted LeVar to be better than Ray Lewis because it was Redskins and nobody else. You know what I mean? But I can't take away from what Ray Lewis has done.
Hey, it
Like,
was
beast.
yeah, man. Like I said, their thought process was on a whole different level. Whatever their football education was, I've never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can be that jacked up guy, you can be that speed guy, but that heart has to be there too. Like, no fear. And it was just it was wild to watch these guys do what they do and be fearless doing it. I mean, even if you're out catching passes and stuff, you got to know somebody's coming.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
they no have no. Like I said, my fear is my carriage. I know what comes with it. So it's
yeah,
either you gonna accept it or you don't. When you don't accept it, then I think that's when you got your issues. I knew as a big receiver, they expect me to go across the middle and they expect me to get hit. Like I figure, as long as it's a legal hit for the most part, I'll be able to get up.
I mean, I'm not taking nothing from the away from the other guys, but at least we had Sean Taylor on your side.
Oh yeah, no, Sean was a problem. Yeah, that wasn't even fair. Like he was about to be a whole different species of football.
Cheat code.
Definitely.
So how did football how did it differ from high school going into college and from college to pro, like adjusting to it? Because they say the NFL is so fast, it's different than college. So what makes them different, and how do you
Um,
adjust?
I'm going to tell you from my personal experience. Once again, it was the information. It wasn't necessarily the physicality. So for me, like I said, I lived off of being more physically able and capable of most people. So, like I said, for my situation, I've always been the bigger animal. So even in high school, I was 6'1", 6'2", 190 pounds at wide receiver, and they kept me out wide.
Yeah,
What deep high school is going to be that big? That's going to be able to compete.
yeah,
Like after I knew how big I was, and I would just run kids over, so they moved out the way. College wasn't much different. I knew I'm bigger. I eat weights every day. I wanted to get bigger, but I didn't get much bigger. I just got strong as a horse. So for me, it was the information more than actually the physicality of it. Now you have more guys that are faster. Now you have more guys that are more talented. Now you have more guys um, with a higher football IQ. That's the major difference from my experience. Everybody talks about the speed, speed, speed. I was fast. I was big. I was strong. Like when it comes to all the physical accolades, I checked off. That's why I was a fifth round draft pick out of Delaware State, because physically, you can't teach me. Now, education wise, I can take a 6'4" guy and teach him a route. I can take a 6'4" guy to run a 4.3 and teach him how to run his offense, because that's what Coach Schottenheimer picked me up. So, but to teach a guy that's 5'10" to be 6'4", that doesn't exist.
yeah,
Like I said, when you see a 7-foot guy walking through the basketball court, you kind of assume that he played basketball until you talk to him and realize he's from Germany and he plays volleyball.
yeah,
So,
right.
so it's just like I said, but I can teach that 7-foot guy to dunk a ball.
Yeah,
I can 7-foot guy to make a lap. You see, that's what's happening now with a lot of the kids, in the different, around the world right now between Europe and Africa. They're bringing these 7-foot footers over here and like, hey, we can teach them how to play basketball. I can't teach 7 feet.
yeah, it's true. So when you talk about information, um, does that are you talking about to be able to identify what you're going against on the field, or what does that mean?
how to play the game of football. So even when you start listening to the guys who play basketball it's one of the simplest games in my opinion. But when you start to break down pro basketball, everything's a play. So as a football player, I have to study you and I have to study me. And I study me more than anything else because how do I beat a cover two in this situation? Okay, he doesn't bump well. He's actually smaller and weaker, but they got him in a cover two. I can beat him. The coach says, hey, I got to make an outside release, but I can beat him inside and still get wide and get away from the safety. Like, it's just information of how to beat people and how to beat certain schemes. Like I said, you'll watch certain coaches that win consistently because they have a system that wins. And it doesn't really matter the pieces. But then you have some people who, like I know Coach Walsh, some of the guys from the 49ers that I know who play for him, he would take your talent and adjust his offense around what you could do. But what you realize is a lot of the NFL coaches, position-wise, may not be as prepared as you think they are. And so that being said is, hey, I can't coach you, but I can coach this book. If you can't do what I need you to do in this book, then we got to get rid of you. Versus, hey, what is your talent and how do we expound on your talent? I'm a third down guy and I'm a down the field guy. I'm going to convert. Why would you put me in a short offense where I got to move and shift a whole bunch of different ways? That's not what I do. That's not what I'm good at. So why would you do that? But if I don't fit, we got to get rid of it. So that's part of the business of it. But like I said, if you get me, no one asks, what do you do well? I'm going to catch the ball. Third down, I'm going to catch the ball. You want to go deep? I'm a pseudo Randy Moss T.O. hybrid. I could jump. I can go get the ball. Was I a superstar? Nah, but never really wanted to be either. You see what I'm saying? But as far as athletic ability, it was there.
So kids coming out of high school, what can they do to prepare themselves for college ball? Or is it something that they just go with the motions until they get there? Is there something they can do to prepare themselves to be ready?
So what, as of lately, the kids are more sensationalized than actually workers. Everything's a YouTube, everything's a TikTok. They're not working anymore. You got to eat the weights, man. You got to be mentally and physically prepared to push yourself to the max. Because unfortunately, what I've talked to some scouts, this was basketball wise though, he said in the future, it's going to be easy to make the pros because the only kids that's going to make the pros are the kids that's going to work.
Right. Yep.
It can only take you but so far. And unfortunately, there are less and less people playing football. So that being said, if you actually put in the work, you'll go further than you probably expect simply by effort. I can't coach that. I can't coach attitude.
No, you can't.
I can't coach your character. That's going to be the difference moving forward because you see what they're doing to the game. Guys are getting bigger, faster, and stronger. So they're trying to protect the brain. They're trying to protect the body. Right? So as far as high school, got to work. Like you got to work like you've never worked before. That's going to be the difference. And I can say that's kind of how I got over because I didn't know anything else. It was like, if you want to be the best, you got to outwork everybody. So what I would do is I did the coach's workout because I tell all my kids, and I'm a coach now. I still think from a player's perspective. I'm coaching a team. I'm not coaching you. I'm coaching a team. I can't coach each individual. It's too many people. So after I'm done coaching a team, what are you going to do to work on yourself? If you're not doing anything to work on yourself, you will be average and you will sit on the side. And that's for the average person. Now, obviously, size, speed, and talent, I can't teach. If I get a kid that's 6'1", 6'2", 180 pounds and running 4'5" in high school, yeah, he's probably going to go to another level, regardless of how good I coach or not. simply because those three factors I can't teach. Like I said, when I walked through the building at Delaware State, I didn't look much different. I was just 190 pounds. I was a 17-year-old kid. But this is the body type. Shoot, we can figure out what to do with that. Right? And if it don't work out, oh well. Like people, I think a lot of athletes don't realize that if you look at some of the most greatest athletes, they still get done pretty dirty when it comes to the business. Like it still hurts my heart what they did to Armand. So it's just like, this is the number one receiver in the business. And you trade him to the Jets? Really? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, like, all my guys, and these are superstars.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? Average guy. You're a grain of, man. Like, the game is bigger than you. The game is bigger than any individual, no matter how great they are. The game moves on. So once you understand that and stop taking it so personal and take it as a business, like, your body is your business. So I started calling myself an IBO, an independent business owner. My body was my business. And that's how I took it. You wasn't going to hurt my body. You weren't going to do anything to my body. I wasn't going to put anything in my body that was going to destroy my body or my mind. So I didn't start drinking until I got married.
Right? Oh, man.
That's
we'll
another.
Keep that on here.
Yeah. But for the most part, I didn't do anything to my body to damage it or to hurt it. Sometimes all the drinking and the drugs, okay, it looks cool, but show me one person that's been successful doing it. It's always a crash and burn, man.
Yeah.
Don't know why athletes continue to do it. Now, I understand it's bigger than just being an athlete, but what's the one kid, I'm not gonna throw his name out there, but it was just like he just couldn't stop smoking. And I'm like, dude, you're about to get a $19 million contract. Get the contract first and then smoke all you want, but get the contract first.
Yeah.
Like, you got 19 mil. You're not gonna get an opportunity to get this money again, man. Yeah. The opportunity to play and make this amount of money is slim to none. You talking about a 0.001% chance. And and like I said, I just got an average of 5 years. But you talking about third and fourth contracts, multi-million-dollar contracts, and you just want to smoke? I don't get it.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
Well, like I said, it's always something in there that's bigger, that we can't see, that we can't touch. We outside looking in, thinking like, hey, they have an opportunity, but it's almost like a genius artist. It's like, this is just what I do. This is nothing to me.
Yeah.
You know, a savant. It's who they are. So from our perspective, it's a lot. It's like, hey, man, you're giving up all this money, this opportunity. Why would you do that? And for them, it's like, it's just money. Hey, I could care less. And that's what you'll see, because it's just who and what they are. So it's a lot of stuff that's, once again, like I said, as we were speaking earlier, I start to realize a lot of our issues are inward, but we're judged or, by social, the social peers, you know.
Yeah, I mean, people only know what they know.
Yeah.
I spoke with a former player. He was drafted maybe 5 years ago, the Redskins. And he was telling me that he didn't even really care. No. He was just an athlete, and he wanted to see how far he could get. Once he got there, I think he spent 2 years, and he went back to school to do something else. He just wanted to see if he could make it.
Right. Well, and I'm gonna say I fell in the same scenario. I never pro. Going pro was never on my mind. Like, all right, if I work this hard, I can go to the pros and I can. I worked hard enough to put myself in a group that was special, because I outworked everybody else around me.
Yeah, and I'm not saying.
And I'm not even saying I'm special. I outworked everybody, because it was guys on Delaware State team who was getting scouted, but they wouldn't do the work I was doing. And that's what, and you like I said, you'll be surprised if one day we had a conversation in the locker room. Why are guys here? One guy says, I have 12 brothers and sisters that I have to take care of. He didn't give birth to any of these kids, but according to him, he had to take care of his 12 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Another one, my mom got sick from cancer. So I had to pay for it because she couldn't work and nobody pays for cancer anymore, but they don't pay for cancer after a certain amount of time. So he had to go pro at an early age. He went to Canada first and then came to the pros. So what's the other one? One guy, he went to a university. His mother didn't have a home. He was homeless. So everybody has it's not for football. That's why, like, I find it funny now. It's like, oh yeah, we're trying to get better and we want to go to the Super Bowl. It's all bull, man. Like, the business of the NFL is selling you, hey, these guys want to go to the Super Bowl. Hey, these guys want to win. Some guys are in it to survive, man. And then you got some who don't know anything else. And their best bet was to play football. If not, where they come from, they would be dead or in jail.
Hey, real quick, this thing says I got less than a minute. I don't know what's going on with it. So I'll send you another link and we'll continue.
All right.
Yeah, you're in the NFL, you want to win a Super Bowl, but it's much bigger than that. I mean,
no, like I said, not everybody in there want to play. Not everybody in there, like I said, some for the money, some for the fame.
so it's just a tool for them to survive. All right, we're back. So these guys, what you were saying was they're playing the game for other purposes than just to win a championship.
Yes, sir. And like I said, I believe a lot of people, it's greater than football. So once again, it's a tool. I know, like I said, I think at the rookie symposium, first thing they said is it's a great start to life. And like, now being older, I don't know if you can make a young man really see it sooner because you're so caught up in playing football and being the best football player of longevity. Unfortunately, like I said, with the sick mindset, I never thought I lived past 18 or 21 because of the environment I came from. And once again, it really wasn't that bad. But again, it could have been because I was putting myself in situations. So when I turned 21, I celebrated like it was the end of the world. Oh, I got money. I'm spending money. I'm doing some of the dumbest stuff I'm probably doing in my life. And then I turned 23. Then I turned 25. And I'm like 30. And I'm like, man, I'm an adult now. Like, you know what I mean? So they told you it was just like, it's a great start to life. Nobody's going to give you this opportunity or this amount of money, even if it's 100,000. Most people don't start off at 21 years old with $100,000 in it. So if you understand longevity, like you'll hear some guys like, hey, I haven't even spent my football money. I haven't spent my basketball money. Marshawn Lynch was one of the first ones of like, considering he seemed like he a wild dude, how intelligent that is to say, I'm not even going to touch my football money because I know one guy in our locker room said it. He was like, it was a situation where some of the guys who were practice squad guys, they had blew through their money. So at that time, they only got $90,000. It was gone. The season ain't even started. Their money was gone. So what he said, he was like, dude, y'all were just broke less than a month ago, meaning we was just coming out of college. College, I might have got $20 a month. He said, so why would you change your lifestyle not knowing if you're going to have a job next week? Because in NFL, every Tuesday, they bring somebody in for your job, literally. So every Tuesday, you'll see wide receivers, running backs, you'll see guys coming through to get evaluated to say, hey, you mess up, you get hurt, or whatever the circumstances, we don't want you. We got a list of guys we can pick from. And that's again, that grain of sand. You just a grain of sand going through the time. So, everybody's playing for a different purpose, man. Now, some people will get on the same page, some people will buy in, and I think you see that in the squads that win.
So coming out of college, without talking figures, what's it like? Like, was your contract coming into the pros like what you thought it was going to be, like you were given and like the whole process itself, or was there surprises in there that you didn't know about? Um,
No, no. Like I said, I graduated at 21. Um, no, who teaches you about money?
Nobody.
Who teaches you about contracts?
Experiences teach you all that.
Right. So what you don't realize and what most athletes don't talk about is how many people rob you in the process. And you want to know why a lot of these guys go broke? It's because adults are robbing them.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of money I lost because somebody said, hey, put your money here. Hey, you should do this. And we're trusting these people to say,
Hmm.
because I'm paying you, but you're robbing me. And then it's like, oh, well, he just didn't know any better. Who was to teach me? And like I said, I'm a suburban kid. You know, like I said, I was just slightly above the hood. But then you talk about brothers who are really coming out of poverty. You hear Shannon Sharp talking about he didn't have running water until, he went to college. Like, these are real life situations.
Yeah.
So
And
who's
it just
supposed to teach?
falls. Go ahead.
Right. So, so now you talking about, and I'm not, the figures are the figures, man. I'm 45, man. This is 20 plus years ago. Um, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect because I came from a
Yeah.
small school. I worked at a gym. The most I made a month was maybe $200. No, a week. So every 2 weeks I made like $200. So now when I seen a check for $90,000, oh, I'm good. I've never seen that much money. Even on my second chance, when I got my second contract, I didn't know it at the time. And once again, not knowing hurts you. Ignorance hurts you. I was ranked, I think, the 19th wide receiver. And if anybody watching, fact check it. So this is information I recall. I was actually ranked the 19th wide receiver in the NFL at the time in 2003 because I led the team in touchdowns that year. So that was a contract year for me. And it was somebody above me who was making 10 mil and somebody below me who was making 9 mil. So I should fall somewhere in between, right? So I should maybe 9.5. I was offered 4. Now, I've never had $4 million. So what do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take
Hey,
the money,
4 million's better than no million.
right? But now this is the trick to the contract. You
Yeah.
never see the contract. So they back-ended and loaded my contract at the end. I saw this. I said something to my agent, but he was like, oh no, you're gonna do this and other. And my agent talked me out of it. Personally, knowing what I know now, I should have left because they weren't even giving me the value on which I was worth at the time. Because it's only so many wide receivers in the league. And I'm right outside those who are the superstars. So if you give me the same amount of touches, do I go up? Because like I said, the one thing I can say is I was consistent. If you look at my stats, I was productive every year I got an opportunity to play. Now, if you didn't want me on your team, that's something else. If my personality didn't fit or you didn't like my game, I've heard so much stuff about myself. It's just, it is what it is. Because
Yeah.
nobody ever talks. It's always hearsay. Because I found out I didn't want to play special teams from the media. I didn't even know myself I didn't want to play special teams.
Right.
So they was like, yeah, why don't you play? I played
Um,
special high school. I played special teams in college. Matter of fact, I played so much special teams in college, they called me the special teams guru. Because I played football where I came from. We played ball. It wasn't no, oh, I'm a wide receiver or I'm a quarterback or this is what I do. It was times where they wouldn't put me in positions that I was asking to play. What am I supposed to do?
Play where you
Coach,
play.
right. Coach, I can do that. Coach, well, come on, McCants, just what is it? What you want me to do? I'm asking you to play. I'm telling you I can play the position, but you never put me on the field. you're telling me that you don't want me. And like I said, not knowing the business, not understanding it, I should have either asked for a trade or I should have never signed my contract. So one of the two should have happened. Now, if I ask for the trade, do I have any leverage? But like I said, knowing what I know now, my agent wasn't out to help me. I'm just another wide receiver.
Yeah, number.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure his business straight with the Washington company, the company of Washington, because obviously he'll make more money with them than he'll make with me.
So when it comes to Washington, and you were in Philly as well, right?
Yeah, that's where I actually played.
Yeah. Between the two organizations, like, where did you feel more at home and productive?
I'm comfortable in my own skin. The best locker room was in Washington, but like I said, I was only in Philly for that 1 year. But it was just a
Yeah.
weird year. Like that year I went up there, T.O. had his situation going on, and then everybody got hurt. I had never seen a team where 10 out of the 11 starters actually physically got hurt. That was the year Donovan had the hernia, and we was playing with backup quarterbacks. And they kicked T.O. off the team, and they was relying on their second round draft pick to carry the team. But it was just a weird year. Westbrook was hurt. Like, it was just strange, man. So for me, I would have to say Washington because I just had the most time in there. And then, like I said, it was a different camaraderie in the locker room too. Like, the Philly locker room was different. It was guys. It was kind of like cliquish. It wasn't a good feel when I walked in there.
Yeah. I was talking to one player. What year was that? It may have been 03. Reagan Upshaw.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling me this was after his career because I think once he was on the Raiders, they went to the Super Bowl with Tampa. And then after that year, I believe, is when he came to Washington. But he was saying, who was the coach? Was it Norv or was it Schottenheimer? I forget who it was.
They
He
was
was
shot
saying
how who brought
he,
him in though.
he was saying there was one game they went in the locker room and coach is like, what are we gonna do, guys? And he said the way the locker room reacted was, hell, we don't know. You're the coach, you know. It was like,
Oh wow. Yeah, that had to be North. That one Schottenheimer. Schottenheimer knew what he was doing.
yeah, yeah. And I'm just like, all right.
No, but
Um,
once again, that goes to me saying you'd be surprised on how many professional coaches aren't that great and don't know much more than the players do. Because a lot of times it comes down to that battle. When you get slapped in the face, how are you going to respond? And not everybody's built like that. Some guys are strictly X's and O's. Well, this should work. Well, this should work. But like I said, that person in front of you, you don't know how special that person in front of you is. You see what I'm saying? It's like, okay,
yeah.
it should on paper, but we got to go against Chris McAllister, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. That's a different animal. You gotta make some changes. We going against Palomalo, Ryan Clark. Like, coach, don't send me through across the middle. Them jokers go for the ball. They're trying to take my head off.
Oh yeah, they're looking for that hit, and the ball comes out. It comes out.
Don't across the middle against them. No, no. I ain't gonna say I'm scared, but I understand good business. That ain't a good business move.
Right. It might affect next week's business.
What? Hey, look here, man. I got neck and shoulder problems now. Look here. Don't know. They looking for the ball. They looking for a headshot. They trying to take your head off. I don't need them problems, coach. Let me get up so I can keep playing.
So you saying that who? I don't want to use the word fear, um, but who did you, I guess, not want to go against or have that interaction where you might get your head taken off type person? Like who was the one that you just did not want to cross the field with?
I didn't have, like I said, I was focused on the ball. I really, like I said, being bigger than most guys, it really wasn't an issue. But the one who hit me and Darren Woodson from the Cowboys. So I ran a slant and he was all downhill. I still can fit. Like I told Big Chris, Chris, I caught the ball and I converted. I did my job. And I was like, dude, you got to pick me up off the ground. And then I got back in the huddle. I don't know who the quarterback was. I said, don't throw me the ball. I said, I can't lift my right arm right now. And he was like, I was like, I can't get out the game. I'm not coming out the game. I was like, no. I said, just don't throw the ball. And yeah, but like I said, that was Darren Woodson. Well, and this is probably my second or third year, but that was my welcoming shot to the NFL that I will never forget.
Hey, it's memories, isn't it?
Oh, it's definitely I got a whole bunch of stories. There's plenty of stories to go around.
So which environment or stadium do you consider to be your favorite to play in and your least favorite?
I never, like I said, my upbringing was a little different. So when it came to basketball, the rims are 10 feet, the court is 85 feet in high school, and that play college. Football is the field is 120 yards by 52.
So field to field.
It didn't matter. Now as far as environment, Minnesota sucked, Denver sucked, and New York sucked because it was just so cold. It was like, this should be against the law. Like, we should not be playing football. And then the heat never really bothered me. So, but as far as cold, the frozen tundra, Buffalo, we had a game. No, it wasn't. No, it was New York. It was the wind. I was like, dude, this hurts. Like, just the wind. You could feel it like blistering your skin. And then Mile High was the first time, I'm thinking I'm in shape. And I ran down on special teams and I couldn't breathe. I was like, they was like, yeah, that's the air. You'll never get used to it. I was like, this is not cool at all. And then we said, we still got 4 quarters of this. This is only the kickoff. This is the first kickoff. And I'm like, I got to do this for 4 quarters? Man. So, but yeah, man, the field is a field, man. Like, I was never brought up in an environment where the environment really affected me. I could never hear the crowd. So I don't hear anything. I can hear my coaches. I can hear my teammates. I can never hear the crowd.
So is Philly, like their fans and stuff, is it as bad as people say they are? Or is that just one of the things you just tone out?
Philly? No, they bad. But I was on the team. Well, even when we played up there, I don't recall, like I said, I don't recall any of the interactions.
Yeah.
Because I'm focused on what's going on. Like, I'm a present person. Now, like I said, if it seemed like some kind of danger, because I know one time they started throwing door cell batteries from the stadium from up. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, that could kill somebody.
Yeah.
D batteries too. But besides that, no, I it's all white noise, man. I just hear a whole bunch of stuff, but it never bothered me.
Right on. All right, before we hop off here, tell us about what you got going on post football, your training programs and things like that.
Well, post football, I've been a personal trainer for the last 15 years with all sports. Obviously specializing in football, basketball, and track. I have a Dulles Youth track program that I run through Dulles Youth, and I help out with the football team, also Dulles Youth sports. What else? I've been a teacher for the last 5 years, working on my master's in special education. And I have several foundations. I have my endowment at Delaware State University, which provides resources for the arts, because I was an art major. And then my my literacy program, Finding Me Literacy Program, which we help provide books to individuals who need help as far as that world. And we're doing some other stuff, joining Omega Psi Phi this past year. We're going to be working, trying to get into the school system versus just small individuals. with the literacy program.
Right on. If you've got information on all of that, links or whatever you have, shoot it my way and I'll post it when I post this video.
Okay, yeah, like everything's under Coach McCants. Everybody can find me under Coach McCants. Finding me foundation.org, Delaware State University. Just look for my name, endowments. It's pretty easy to find if people are willing, actually, to do a little bit of research. I'm not hard to find, but I'll send it to you.
Oh, perfect. Regarding track, I'm asking this because both my kids run track. Um, what is something these kids can do to just, like, I guess, work on their speed and being able to maintain that speed going around the track, or even pick it up just to knock their time down?
So track is kind of, I'm gonna say track has a little bit more to do with actually coaching, because I'm gonna say the strength and conditioning coaching, that's how I win. I'm not doing anything special. Like, I have some kids that are talented, and then I work on form and technique. Your form and technique will get you faster. Your strength and conditioning will allow you to maintain that speed. So that is my philosophy on how I coach my kids, because it's running. And then, of course, depending on a race, you have to have a race plan. So it's not just, hey, just go out there and run. I have to teach them. And what I do is I teach during practice. So I'm practicing how I want you to run the race. So I don't have to sit there and, well, what didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Well, we supposed to do it like this. I'm going to show it. You're going to do it every day. So when you run your race, it's not a thought process. You're doing just what we did in practice, especially, once again, like I said, training amateurs. I'm not expecting a 5 and even a 10 or 12-year-old kid to remember what I try to teach them about how to run. As they get older, some things will start to kick in. But to maintain your speed, my philosophy is, if you want to run fast, run fast. That's the only way you're going to do it.
I mean, you're gonna be tired regardless, right?
Yeah, you can't train your body slow to run fast. It's not going to happen. In order to run fast, you must run fast.
Yeah.
To get stronger, you must lift the weights. So I start all my kids at 12 years old. 10 preteen, what I call it. We're exercising. We're doing calisthenics. You got to be able to pull up. You got to be able to push up. You got to have strong abs. You got to be able to run. And I mean, effort. By 12, we're in the weight room. You got to start lifting weights around 12, because then that's when the hormones and stuff start to kick in. And you want them moving in the right direction. So now when everything starts to formulate into young adults, it sends the body in overdrive, because you've been putting it in work since 10 years old. So if you think, hey, he's been training for 10 years, think about that for a kid. If I start you training at 10, and by the time you're 17, 18, you've been training for 8 years, you should show improve at some point in time if you're putting forth that.
Right on. Yeah, my daughter ran in the Adidas Nationals like a month ago, I guess it was.
She rolling if she in the nationals.
Well, here's the thing. So she's used to winning, right?
Yeah,
But she's always nervous before any race, which who's not? And I tell her, we all want you to win, but it, it's okay that you don't win, but you're giving 100% of your effort.
right,
But don't go out there and count yourself out. Like, if you're not going to win and the other girl is going to beat you, make her earn it, you
right.
know, because they're just afraid of you as you are of them.
Well, this is the trick when it comes to track: is you versus the clock.
That's it.
I,
That's what I said. Yep.
I tell my kids, when they come around the corner, find the clock, especially in the bigger meets. It's a clock that's always on the inside of the field.
Yep.
That's who your competition is. The other
Hmm.
people on the track trying to beat their own times. So your goal is you versus you. There is
Yeah.
nobody else on the track.
Hmm.
It's you versus you. And what events does she run?
She runs the well, in her team event. It's the 4x4, 4x8 and then individual she runs the 400 and the 800, and then
Oh
the
yeah.
500 indoor.
Okay, yeah. So she mid distance, so she would be considered mid distance, especially
Hmm.
with the. But yeah,
So
so
there's a girl that was it Reservoir High School? It may have been Reservoir who beat her in the 200 indoor, but then my daughter got her in the 500. So it's like now you know where your distance are at. And then even when she went to the Adidas Nationals about a month or so ago, it's like, so you see the girls that came ahead of you, at least now you know what to set your pace for or what times you need to meet.
right. Well, nationals, you're dealing with people who are more set to actually run track. So on average, if you talk about, like I said, the Howard County area, 99% of those kids are just good kids. Some of
Mm-hmm.
them are putting track on their resume. That's why they're doing it. So once again, you have the mindset of, why am I doing this? Everybody's not in it to run track at the next level. So now you start talking about nationals, junior Olympics, USATF, their championships. Now you're talking about the small number of kids, and that's the kids who want to go to the next level for track. And some of them are just talented. Um, but yeah, no, you start getting that level, but that's what you want. That's how you get better. That's what
Well,
competition. I don't want to. If you're just winning all the time, I think that's the worst.
well, and that's
You,
what's going on in high school. Like she's used to winning.
yeah.
The only reason she's running track is because they wanted to condition her for soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, go run track because she's the fastest one on the soccer field.
Right.
Well, now she's running track, and that's her thing now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she was state champion this year in two or three events. Same as indoor, back in the winter. And then was it her freshman or sophomore year? She was a state champion too. So like you're a state champion at these levels, not calling it easy by any means, but you're
Oh, it's not.
now
Yeah.
you're doing the thing.
Right.
So to get better, you're going to go to nationals and go against the kids that are just where you're at, if not a little bit faster. And that's going to
Right.
force you to level up
Right. And that's what
because
she
you ain't
wants to
got no
do.
choice.
Well, even still, those kids are on somebody's list. And
Yeah.
if your name is on there and they can't get that kid that may be above you, now you're getting phone calls. But once again, in that world, the world has changed now. So you have to go to the college. That's what I'm trying to get more parents to understand. Nobody, colleges aren't coming to kids.
Well,
You
that's
have
one thing for her. She does that. She's on top of it. She's
to,
calling. She picks an area she wants to go, and she's going to these colleges, calling them, "Hey, these are my times. Just to let you know, I just ran this last weekend." Blah blah blah.
right. That's what has to happen. Too many kids have sat back and like, well, I got to get picked. No, you have to pick the college. And I say that as well because I was training a kid from Baltimore, and then he ended up in Wichita. That's a culture shock, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go from a city lifestyle, something that's fast and aggressive, to
Hmm.
cornfields.
Yeah.
And he, coach, only thing out here is a Walmart. And he said everybody would go to the Walmart, put their cars in a circle, and hang out at Walmart in the parking lot all day. And that's what they did every day.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's what you signed up for, man. He said the school was good as far as academics and the coaching. He liked the coaches and everything. It was the social life. The other kid that went with him after 2 weeks came back home.
Can't do
But
this.
oh, like I said, dude, it could be scary. Like
Yeah.
as tough as some kids or some people try to seem, you put them in certain situations, it scares the life out of them. I know they do little retreats, and we had some of my tougher kids, special education, go to this little, I think it's called outdoor ed, is what they used to call it. And the adults didn't understand what was going on because they see these tough kids, but not understanding the exterior is tough because of the environment in which they have to come from.
Hmm.
But they're comfortable in the city. They're comfortable with the cussing. They're comfortable with the shooting and the fighting. That's comfortable because that's normal. Now you take that same animal and you put them in the woods and they hear crickets, they hear noises and sounds they never heard. That's terrifying. And I can tell
Yeah.
you my first personal experience was when I moved from the city to the county. and I saw a black cricket. And this thing is jumping and making all this noise. Yeah. So like I was saying, my first experience from the city to the county, I seen a black cricket, but you got here shooting outside, crackhead, none of that ever scared me. But this little cricket that kept jumping up and down scared the life out of me, man.
Yeah. Yeah, she's looking at a college down in North Carolina area. She was looking at High Point.
Okay.
So there's a little bit more up here than there is down there. So I don't know about culture shock, but she'll see that reality.
Yeah. No,
I
like I
think that's
said,
where she goes. She's still
I
she's
think it's
still
good for
going into her
growth, man.
senior year. Yeah.
It's always good for growth. Especially I tell all my boys that I train, I'm like, man, whenever you go, don't come back. Like, don't ever come back to where you from.
Yeah.
Like, where you at, tough it out. You will be fine. Like, you're prepared more than you think you are.
So is Ashburn where you just hang out the most, or do you ever head back home at all, or is
Nah,
it
it's
like
for the I'm still like, so when I got drafted, like I said, I was here. So
yeah.
I hung out with my family here. But most of my family, nah, there's nobody in the city anymore. So everybody in the city for the most part gone. Um, but then even like the guys I grew up with in Howard County, everybody's kind of in the area but outside the area now.
Mm-hmm.
So no, we just meet up every now and again because everybody's kind of so spread out. But yeah, man, it's same group of kids I grew up with, the ones that survived, the ones that still living, the ones that have their freedom. we we get in together and we got little group chats and everything. So that's pretty much what I do.
Right on, right on. Well, good deal. Yeah, like I said, I'll be back in Ashburn on Monday. I don't know for how long till we get done that building, I guess. But yeah, if you want to, man, we'll catch up sometime out there, grab a
Yeah,
bite,
man.
whatever.
Like I said, I do consultation and mentoring and all that stuff. So like I said, if you got any questions, as far as your daughter, whatever, as far as training, because like I said, it could be talent.
Yeah.
And then sometimes to take talent to the next level, that's where the coaching comes in. It's like, okay, how do we get your mind mentally prepared? So when she goes to those meets, there is no fear. There is no who's on the track and they're better. No, I'm out here to beat my time by a second today. I'm out here to beat my time by 0.5, 0.23, whatever it is. Like that has to
You
be the
know,
mindset.
yeah, and to the people not running track, half a second to a second doesn't seem like a lot. But when you're out there competing, man, it's a big deal.
0.1 is a lot.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
0.1. That's what I try to tell people. Like I said, when you see a gap, 1 or 2 steps, and that's what even like with football, a 4.5 and a 4.4 is a step.
Yeah.
And everybody, oh, so he's running 4.4. He's running 4.3. Oh, and if I show you on film, you're like, well, that's 0.2 seconds, man.
It's like 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah. Like I said, when you start getting to that time, that's the one part I like about track too. You can't say I favor them. Well, you favor him or her. Well, you put him in it. No. You see that time right there? I didn't do that.
Right. Right.
That track did. I did the
Yeah, I
coaching.
didn't run it.
Yeah, cheering. Good job. But that's it. That's what I love. That's the one thing I fell in love with track. You can't tell me he jumped that height. He jumped that far. She jumped it. No, it ain't. I didn't had a couple parents try to, talk slick, and I had to tell the kids. I said, don't let your parents get your butt in something you can't get yourself out of.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I will put them in the same heat. Yeah, because I put the times down. So if I put you in the same heat, you're gonna embarrass your parent, you're gonna embarrass your family.
Well, that's like I was trying to tell my son because I want to see him get back in the long jump.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's going into 11th grade, and the last time he did it was 8th grade. On 8th grade, he did 16.2, and
Woo,
I'm
in eighth
like,
grade.
yeah. And the guy that won the meet did 19. I'm like, and he was a senior.
Yeah,
Because I said, you got 4 years to make up less than 3 feet.
right,
Like, you can do this.
right.
So I'm hoping he's gonna get back in that long jump this year.
Yeah, no, like I said, 19, because I'm gonna say competitive will be 21. So if he can get to the 21s, he'll start getting some looks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he did great. I mean, both of them do great. So regardless of what they're doing, man, proud of them. Like they do wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
So well, good deal, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. Holla at me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll catch up, grab a bite to eat, whatever.
All right.
Um, like I said, I'll be out there Monday, but I don't know what this new job entails. We'll see. But yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, take it easy, man.
All right, later.
I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.